If the original Star Wars from 1977 was the true revolutionary for escapist media that promoted all what could be accomplished with passion and creativity, then Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back was an important and a vital message to all other sequels. Not only can a sequel be better than the original, it should be. The thing is, with an original film, along with telling the story, you're obligated to introduce all the characters, worlds, and themes. You have to make sure an audience understands what is going on and how it's happening. Characters can't appear fully formed. And I love seeing world building. It's an important part in fantasy and sci-fi. You have to understand the setting that this takes place in. But in sequels, all of that is already established. We know Princess Leia, we know Han Solo, we know Luke Skywalker, we know Darth Vader going into this film. Now, all of that is known, and every sequel should have minimal explanation as possible for people who never saw the predecessor. Sequels should all be about exploration, not just of the world, but of the story and the individuals inside it. Now everything is set up, you can start building towards a payoff, which can take as many sequels as necessary, just make sure it's worth the journey. And boy, every second of Empire Strikes Back is worth the journey. So many people have looked at what this film did and decided that they were going to make the Empire Strikes Back of the franchise. Go darker, get twistier, and so forth. And not that people shouldn't look at this and be inspired by its accomplishments, but they need to fully realize what made Empire so influential. And it wasn't the fact that it went darker. You shouldn't look at Empire and take that inspiration to make your film a gritty piece of crap. BVS. The thing with Empire is that it went deeper. Everything is enriched in terms of all the characters, the mythos, the worlds. So much of what we see is given intensely deeper meaning. And sometimes when you dive in deep, you'll reach the darkness. But that's not an excuse to leave out any comedy, because Empire Strikes Back is hilarious. So many ingenious lines of dialogue are timeless classics that make me laugh every single time I turn this film on. It balances things out. Sure, it can get horrific, dark, and shocking when it needs to, but each individual grounds things with the comedy, so when the brave choices come out, they hit all the harder. Another thing that they enhanced in this film was the action and special effects. From the opening snow battle onwards, you get a sense of how original and new your experience will be. First, we get the rebels fighting the AT-ATs in their tiny ships on Hoth, then Han Solo maneuvering through the asteroid field, even the simple blaster shootouts on Cloud City. It's all incredible. The lightsaber fight choreography is also 10 times better. I don't hate the fight from the original, but it is noticeably slow and maybe too cheesy, even though it's not really, it doesn't matter. I still like it better than all the ridiculous fights from the prequels, but that's not saying much. However, in Empire, we achieved the perfect balance between the two. It feels gritty, real, and entertaining, yet also dignified. It looks so real, all the action does, thanks to the incredible accomplishments by ILM. As with New Hope, even the technical problems don't bother me at all. I love how the Wampa moves, the running of the Tauntauns. Cloud City looks so creative. The story is perfect. It takes all of what happened in the first film and continues on it immensely. The only slow part of the film might be the beginning where Han has to rescue Luke, but it feels like necessary building time until the Empire can strike back, and even then, we're getting interesting things. And man, what an amazing title is that. The Empire Strikes Back. If someone saw the first one, they can easily look at the sequel and know that the stakes are being raised. The suspense is enriched. And it's not like Attack of the Clones, where you have to wait until the end of the film for the clones to do their attacking. The Empire starts off with the Hoth battle, and they keep striking until the ending. The film goes by really fast as well. It's honestly hard to take my eyes off the screen, because every single second there's something genuinely interesting going on. The comedy, the action, the visuals, all of it contributes to the unforgettable experience. I can watch this movie, and it can feel like it goes by at light speed. It's structured so well. Darth Vader is way more layered and complex in this film than in A New Hope, and there you felt there was something more to him, but for the most part he was just a really cool and menacing bad guy. But in Empire Strikes Back, we delve into him more. That simple shot of where the Imperial officer walks on him as his mask is being slowly lowered down back onto his face. Even though we don't get to see the front, Just the back of it. That gives the viewer an unshakable impression that this villain has a rich and layered backstory. It immediately makes you ask the question, what happened? How did he get so disgusting? Why does he need that armor? And the mystery just makes him a better villain. We also get our first glimpse of Emperor Palpatine in this movie.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Even though we only get a brief shot of what he looks like, we're given the sense that there's a bigger threat in store, which is a smart thing to do while Vader is being made more relatable to us. In the original version, Palpatine was just a bizarre look with just random elements. I think it was good that Ian McDiarmid was placed back in, even if the original version should still be made available to people. Actually, just in general, the special edition changes don't irk me in this one. It's just a bunch of cosmetic touch-up, and none of it actually looks terrible. Even though John Williams' score for the original is perfect, in Empire Strikes Back it gets even better. All of his major themes from the original return, but there's so many more new ones to enrich the overall experience. The Imperial March is incredible, just sweeping and epic, and fits with Darth Vader immensely. The romance is also great in here. This might feel like clunky dialogue in the hands of other actors, but there's something about the characters of Han Solo and Princess Leia that makes it all work. They interact in a very well-formed arc that makes you want them to get together. And all that back and forth between the two, where Leia says,
I love you.
I know.
that's genius. It would have been so cheesy to have him say, I love you too, but instead going with, I know, means that this just isn't a romantic back and forth. It's one between two clearly established, relatable, and well-written characters. Having Han get frozen in carbonite is not only a great idea for the story, as it raises the stakes going into the finale of the trilogy, but it also contributes to their relationship, and the theme that John Williams contributed makes it even better. This movie also served as our introduction to Lando Calrissian, who is such a fun character. True Billy D. Williams portrays a cool, smooth talker, but you get that there's something more to him. You understand why he betrayed Han and Leia, because he needed to protect his city. It all makes sense. But in my opinion, the best scenes of this movie are the ones on Dagobah, where Luke goes to train with Yoda. Because first off, Dagobah is such a visually interesting place. There's so much personality to every shot contained within it. It's murky and weird, sure, but there's this unforgettably mysterious aesthetic to it. And when we meet Yoda, boy, this character is great. Not only is he hilarious when he wants to be, and the voice, that backward speech by Frank Oz are amazing, he teaches the viewer so much about the Force. I feel like I'm learning with Luke, and my experience becomes so much more. He actively richens the mythos. You get a deeper understanding of what the Force means, and what can be accomplished through it. Plus that scene where Luke goes into the cave. You don't really know what's going on, but you get a real sense that the Force goes deeper than even what Yoda knows, which is fantastic. Luke continues this trilogy-long arc in this film, because even though we get to see him train more and more, supposedly becoming more adept at being a Jedi, there's still deep flaws inherently with him. He's still kind of whiny. That brilliant scene, and my favorite in the entire film, is the one where he's trying to lift the X-Wing. He's too impatient and unfocused to bring it out of the swamp. He gives up, but when Yoda lifts it up, with John Williams' brilliant Yoda's theme blaring at full volume, that's when he realizes the true power of the Force, and the brilliant back and forth after it.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
Just goes to demonstrate how much further he needs to go in his journey. And when he blindly decides to go to Cloud City to save his friends, you understand why. He's not prepared. He's going into a trap, but the conflict feels real. I previously talked about how the choreography is fantastic in the lightsaber duel in this film, but what really makes it great are the stakes and what it means to each of the characters. Luke and Darth Vader have been properly set up. They've been through well-established arcs in one and most of another film. You understand their motivations and what they need out of this conflict. It's simple on the surface, but beneath it's rather nuanced. It's made even more unbelievably incredible when you take in that masterful twist.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
Went so far to conceal it that in the original script, when most people saw it, it was said that Obi-Wan killed Luke's father. It wasn't until Mark Hamill got on the set that he was actually told what was really going to happen. What Darth Vader would say. This may well be the greatest cinematic twist of all time. It's an unbelievable moment that uprooted the entire galaxy. It's great because it's not at the end of a first film where that reveal would mean less, it's at the end of a sequel. And that's what sequels should be used for. If you're telling a story, use the first one to set up the characters and the sequel to truly do something with them. What I especially love is what Luke does after this is revealed to him. His hand was cut off, and the most notorious villain just told him he is his father. That's really heavy stuff. And that's why it's incredible for the story that Luke willingly commits suicide. He didn't know that he would be sucked into a pipe, and I like that soon after that split decision, when given the chance to think of it, while hanging off the bottom of Cloud City, he's willing to keep going and connects with Leia using the Force. The final shot of this movie says so much about the possibilities that could go forwards. You can think about all the uncertainties that these characters have before them. Han is in carbonite. Luke now has an unshakable connection to our villain. It's a brilliant way to conclude. Empire Strikes Back is even better than A New Hope. It's truly incredible what it accomplishes. It enriches the story, the characters, and all of the themes. The mythos is explored further and given a deeper focus in meaning. It's a true masterpiece in every sense of the word, and I'm going to give Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back a 11 out of 10 because ratings are mostly meaningless and I can do whatever the hell I want. Thank you so much for watching my review. I hope to have my thoughts on Return of the Jedi up in a couple days. Thank you so much for watching my video. Comment your thoughts down below, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you feel sufficiently inclined.